Welcome to Tech in the Right Direction, the podcast. This week, I'll be speaking with Kerry Adams. Kerry is a seasoned professional with nearly 2 decades of experience in the fields of broadcast, brand design, digital experience, and creative content production. Born with a passion for storytelling and a keen eye for visual aesthetics, Kerry's journey in the industry has been nothing short of remarkable. Kerry's educational foundation was laid at the prestigious University of Lincoln in 2001, studying television and film design. She honed her skills and developed a deep understanding of the principles that underpin creative work. With a thirst for knowledge and strong academic background, Kerry set out on a career path that would see them become a trailblazer in the world of media and design. From crafting stunning visual identities for brands to producing captivating stories for a diverse range of media platforms, Kerry's work has consistently captivated and resonated with audiences. In a constantly evolving media landscape, Kerry continues to be a beacon of innovation and a trusted expert, leaving an enduring legacy of creativity and impact. Her journey from university graduate to agency founder in 2017 and peaking her career aspirations in leadership today. A testament to her unwavering passion, dedication, and talent growth in the world of design. Beyond their professional achievements, Kerry is known for her commitment to excellence, her relentless pursuit of creative perfection, and her ability to inspire and lead teams towards success. Kerry remains dedicated to pushing the boundaries of what is possible in broadcast, brand design, and creative content production. Welcome to the show, Kerry. I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Jennifer, for having me.
Great. So let's get started. Kerry, as a woman in tech, can you share with us your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I've got to go back a few years. It's probably about spanning 20 years since I started, but I started in broadcast, so I suppose you could class that as tech, because I became obsessed with understanding how TV was broadcast to the nation. And so my degree that I went from television and film design, I got straight in, got my hands dirty, and started right at the bottom of the ladder in creative services and worked my way up to becoming a promo producer. And I don't know if that's the same in the States, but what that is editing trailers for the TV ads. So you've got, a series launching and you'd love a really great, propeller for the marketing campaign. Sure. And it would mean watching hours upon hours of TV, which was a love of mine anyway, to then whittle, 16, 17 hours worth of TV down into 30 seconds. So, how could you do that in within a day or 2 days and turn that around quickly? So that became the basis for my career. However, I think I was within that career, within creative services for various channels in the UK, like Channel 4, Channel 5, ITV, and it became clear, I think around sort of my late 20s, that there was nowhere really to move from that sector of broadcast, and that's all I knew. So it became clear at that point that I wasn't getting anywhere in terms of promotion quickly enough, and the job started to become very samey. It started to become very churn heavy and
monotonous.
It became, watching TV programs, creating a trailer, you'd create an amazing campaign, or what you thought would be an amazing campaign. And then you'd show it to the marketing team and they'd pick it apart and tell you to do something completely different anyway. So it became quite frustrating. And then I chose to look at how TV channels were designed. And I realized TV channels always outsourced the creative for their own branding. And that's what led me to jump across the pond, so to speak, in terms of going to agency side, because I wanted to understand what it was like to work with clients and not just delivering trailers to a marketing, an internal marketing team. So I made a little bit of a leap and went over to a design agency, called Dixon Baxi, who are quite well known in the UK for, well, they were known at the time for a lot of branding, brand strategy and design. And then became a producer of the channel branding side, so completely the opposite. Working under female management, which I know is another subject we're going to talk about later, but I'll leave that. And then really enjoyed being client facing and understanding how to, digest briefs and create, design with meaning and design with strategy. And then it led me on to do a lot of experiential work with larger agencies such as Imagination and go around the world doing, automotive launches and learning about how to bring the digital world and the content world together. It was then that I started to manage teams of, app creation builds, applications for different interactive experiences that then we toured around the world. So that then kind of bred the love for digital and content in a marriage together. And there came Velvet Badger some years later because, we wanted to, I say we, me and my business partner, we wanted to create the work that we wanted to create. And again, I'll come on to that in a little while, but that's really the career trajectory that I've taken until now.
That's great. Wow. What a varied level of experiences to know what you like, right? And it was clear in the beginning that the customer side was really where your heart was and where the challenges were that you could really make a difference, right?
For sure.
So it's amazing. Great career journey. I think you had a great career journey. So share with us how tech is changing the way creative agencies work.
God, where do you start? I think tech has always been there, and it's always been the foundation for a creative agency. I mean, you can go back as far as like the days prior to email and prior to internet, where people had the whiteboards and the pens, and they kind of brainstormed on the big old pads and got the colouring pens out. But I think that was pre my era. So I've only ever known tech to be featuring, but the main areas for me, I think, are sort of collaboration and communication. The collaboration tools that we use on a daily basis. You've got a lot of software out there in terms of project management tools, cloud-based softwares where it allows people to work around the world but together. That's massively influencing a lot of our work at Velvet Badger, because we've got specialists that are around the world who we can't pull into our office, and so we have to work remotely with them. And that's where those tools come in, and they're paramount, especially for the recent project we delivered for Gucci. It was a lighting designers over in one end of the world, and then you had technicians to do product modeling in the far end of on the other scale. So definitely collaboration tools. I think that content creation and distribution is quite key, because they rely on sort of graphic design softwares, video editing, social tools, all of the things that, like I said, have been there from the beginning, but they've just evolved so much. And we're constantly learning how to use the next best thing, the new piece of software that's out. We've all used the Adobe software here and there, but it's just on leaps and bounds, and we've had to learn with it. And so you really have to give the team the time to do that, aside from actually doing the job themselves.
And do you feel the creative industry is embracing those tools, or are they afraid of them?
I think the best people and the best designers, the best creatives definitely are embracing. And I think you notice it in a skill set, because we are, as an agency, always on the lookout for the top talent. We don't believe that you can have everything under one roof, and therefore we've always got our eyes peeled for the people who are showing the technique in the most current software and the most current iteration of that software. We see that mainly on things like Behance or within our community on Discord, because people share and people are proud of that. So we gravitate towards those people, and we try to incorporate them where we see talent. We try to incorporate them where we can, where they fit the best, the most efficiently. I think another area for me is client interaction and pitching. And when I say that, it's like you got to think of the old pitching days where you'd sit in a boardroom and pitch an idea to a client, and you kind of read their face and see if they like it or they don't like it.
Right.
But I think in this day and age, we're starting to veer towards the virtual reality presentations, or make interactive demos, or real-time collaboration tools with our clients to make them part of the process and not just a receiver. So there's lots that we're doing on that front. I think probably another area, and the only other one I can think of right now, is the automation and in AI, maybe like the automation tools, the artificial intelligences that are streamlining repetitive tasks and data analysis or content generation. Because as a business, whenever we create and we deliver a project, there is going to be countless amounts of different formats, different aspect ratios, different iterations of the same thing that we need to generate. So we don't tend to use a lot of that in our workflow right now, but I can see that coming very, very soon in the future.
Yeah, no, that's great. So what were the reasons behind setting up Velvet Badger? Tell me a little bit about that.
What are the reasons? I think the main reason, I've got to think back now, 5 years.
Yeah.
A lifetime ago now, and I know it doesn't sound a long time ago.
What was like your motivation to get it started?
It was, I suppose, timing was key, because like I said, my business partner, Chris Joyce, he's the creative side of the business because he comes from a 3D design background, and I come from a project management and project director background. And we'd worked together for many, many years in the experiential sector in terms of creating content for applications or content for events within a massive agency. And what we found was we were unable to be agile in those situations, and communication, the bureaucracy had such an impact on the direction of any project. It just felt like we were being told exactly what to deliver, exactly how to do it, always do it in the cheapest possible way, always do it at the speediest rate possible, because you'd never have any time. And it felt like those decisions were never ours. So we really wanted to create an agency that could be agile and remove the bureaucratic structures, encourage communication, encourage the great talent to, like I said, to be sourced for the right reasons, and not just to put a bum on seat, or as they say, instead of, he's an animator, he'll be the right fit, or she'll be the right fit because she's an animator. But are they the right person? Are they the right talent? We always found that was very, very, limiting in terms of working with agencies. And above all, it was, deciding the work that we wanted to do, and deciding to do that from start to finish, from conception and storytelling all the way through to delivery, and not just being brought in to just deliver that one tiny bit or mop up that mess that maybe, the wrong talent, unbeknown to them, have created, and have ownership over that and be proud of it. So yeah.
I love that it was more about the client, right? It's understanding what the client wants, understanding their needs, and then building a program around that.
Absolutely, because we were never really on, the client-facing side. We were brought in at the point where those decisions,
you were kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, those big decisions had already been made without us even having to factor into them. Our perspectives as project leaders or as creatives. It would be born from one creative lead having a great epiphany, storyboarding it, getting buy-in, and it was just, right, now make it. And then the problems come up, and the solutions to it have to be sort of thought of on the ground whilst you're running, rather than from the very start, and understanding what it that way. How are you going to see the future of that, and overcome the issues, also at a more strategic rate in terms of budget? Because I'm sure you know that when you hit a problem, you throw money at it or you throw time at it. Whereas if you solve those problems earlier in the process, that budget stretches longer, that time is more efficient. And we found that owning that part of a project, owning the conception, was not only fun, it's great because we can, create that narrative ourselves and make it. But also it's a good nurturing process for your clients, and it makes them come back again.
No, that's great. I love the money and time are the two reasons, to really make a difference. So I think that's great.
If we don't have any money, we don't have any time. Ever.
Right. So true. So you started to touch a little bit on AI, and how do automated tools and AI-powered software streamline repetitive tasks in your industry?
I think a big one for us is probably reducing human error. There's one there. I mean, like I said, we don't tend to use AI yet to streamline our processes, because within a creative agency like ours, we're very small. However, we tend to look at the detail from a human perspective before anything else, and know that we've got it right before we enter into any type of AI workflow. So human error can be one of them, saving time, increasing efficiency, and enabling the workers and the humans behind that to deal with the more complex strategic aspects of their work and the creative side, the critical thinking and the problem solving skills. It allows for that brain power. So I think that, like I said, AI in terms of streamlining tasks within our industry is going to increase. It's going to get better. One way that we do it on a larger scale right now is to increase creative capacity. And what I mean by that is things like, we can take a campaign that we've just done for Gucci. We had to design a whole flower garden. Every single flower and every single product was designed and created in a 3D software, and animated 3D. However, take that time that it's taken a designer to craft that individual flower and use AI to do it, when we understand and know that AI output is going to be rights controlled, in terms of if we create an AI, our client can own it. At that point, it's going to open floodgates for us. And then that's just a small example, but it shows that there's two different workflows here. One's going to be extremely time efficient. However, what is the onward, issues that are around that content creation through AI, in terms of rights owning any content, and in terms of copyright infringement and things like that. So as soon as those problem areas are solved within that in that sector, I definitely think we're going to be using it more and more and more.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think to make it a time efficient solution where AI is producing some of the stuff that you don't have to start from scratch, it's going to help you so much more, and you'll be able to do more with less, so I think that's great. So as we know, with the pandemic, it's changed the way we work, how technology is facilitating seamless collaboration among global teams and freelancers. What are you seeing in the industry, and how is it changing the creative space?
Carl, that's a loaded question, but
I know.
I think it's fair to say that tools like Slack, Teams, Zoom, they've cleaned up, haven't they? In this in this day and age. And I actually went to an event yesterday around not ditching necessarily the virtual event side and coming back fully into the present and the physical world, because everyone now knows exactly what Zoom is, exactly what Teams is, but it was a raise your hands, as to who's used any of those tools before the pandemic. It was just a small amount of people, only a few got raised. So I think it's clear to say that those types of softwares have come on leaps and bounds, because they've been the savior of many companies, many infrastructures. However, as an agency, like I say, of our size, before the pandemic, we were using those tools, and we were working with cloud-based softwares, collaborative editing softwares, because, like I said, we choose the people around the world who are the specialists in their field that we can't bring into our offices under the roof. So for an agency like us, we've always been doing that. It didn't kind of phase us when the pandemic hit. We knew exactly what we needed to do, and we were already doing it. We just had to do it better. So a plus for us. However,
That's
we've
great.
definitely integrated more than I think that we thought we would in terms of softwares to do that. You know, things like Figma is a software that's been fundamental for us because it allows for live collaborative editing of creative boards. And cloud-based storage we've always been using. However, we just had to, you know, increase the bandwidth, increase the subscriptions, and add more to it. But it's nothing that we had not seen before. So yeah, I think what we're doing is right. We've always been doing it, and I think the suppliers of those types of softwares are very much in competition with each other now, and who's going to clean up the most. But there are a new one coming out every day.
And I think what's happening is that people are realizing the value of the time they gain with virtual, right? And so they're gaining additional time. They're being more efficient with AI. They are finding that they can do so much more in a given day than they could before. But before the pandemic, they never realized that because it was business as usual. We always did it this way and we continue to do it this way. And then when things changed, it was very different. So I love that the industry is embracing, you know, the virtual side also.
I like the fact too that that people are more open to having a Zoom call, a face-to-face Zoom. I say Zoom, it's because of what we use as a business. I shouldn't linger on any one brand. Video calling over picking up the phone in the old way is so much more. I think you get more out of it, and I think people have realised that, and so they're pushing the boundaries on that, because it used to be the other way around. It used to be people would pick up the phone or email, and getting on a video call is something so alien to them, but it's completely reversed the playing field. And you got to look at the people coming into our industries on a younger scale, and now what it's second nature to them. These video calls is a collaborative working is something. It's just like when the internet broke. You know, if you were just behind that and you chose not to embrace it, you're feeling that pinch now because you're less technical, or you know, you've become archaic in your workflow.
Yeah, and I find that the younger people are so acclimated to texting and getting things done simultaneously rather than having to call somebody or wait till they are available to answer the phone. You know, it's just a whole different dynamic. So it's really, really interesting. So, you know, this podcast is focused around bridging the culture and pay and employment gap for women in tech. What are you seeing in the industry today from your lens?
What am I seeing? I'm seeing a huge light being shone on the female presence in tech and in creative industries like my own. And I say that because, you know, I see a lot of events cropping up, you know, the Women of Silicon Roundabout and the event in terms of women in tech. For events, physical events to be, you know, curated around this subject, it says to me that it's providing a platform for the subject matter, which is great, because I wrote an article on LinkedIn around my opinion of this sector, you know, females in tech. And when I say tech is so broad, you know, tech can be broadcast, it can be creative, it can be using tech in any career. So, you know, my opinion on this was, I'm not necessarily a feminist by any means. I'm not, you know, flying the flag for females in the industry, but what I am seeing is a voice platform for people who are A, entering the space, and B, in the space, who can actually reflect back on their own careers. And I did this to myself, and I looked back and I thought, right, I've come from broadcast, I've gone to the creative agency, client facing. At what point has you know, the male dominance in my career affected me? And I actually didn't think it had. I was flying through, I own my own business. I didn't think it was a problem. I didn't think it was an issue or if in my history. But when I look back, it was the fundamental reason for leaving broadcast was because I was always going for promotions, never getting them, but not realizing, because there was a male there that created a circle that they felt safe in, and then they would promote the people that they felt they could work with.
That's really interesting that you didn't even see that happening until later, when you actually had that female mentor and the female manager, that then those things started to pop up. I think many people are like that.
It takes for someone to actually go, well, how have you come to where you are now? So you look back, and after my years in broadcast, I worked for a female managing director at Dixon Baxi, for a female manager at Imagination. It was an unconscious decision-making process that I felt I felt empowered to know that I was worthy, and that's a massive thing for me. Females understanding that they have a value in the place that they work, and
they're more collaborative, right? I mean, everything we do is more collaborative, so that's good.
So when it comes to pay gaps, I think there's always going to be disparity, and I don't think there's going to be, maybe in the future, I don't know, there's always going to be an element of fear. I mean, I'm on both sides of the fence here, because I'm a business owner, and I look at who we employ at our agency, and I make decisions based on facts of life. Females are the breeders of the next generation. They give birth, they raise. So can men. They raise and they nurture. However, time has to be taken off, and value in that person should not be depleted, or it should not be necessarily undervalued, because they may need to take that time to go away and do that for themselves. And that's the only difference between male and female, and I think if that's the reason there is a disparity in pay, then there should be laws and things around this that have not yet been put in place around the world. There's great pioneers. There are great pioneers like Anna at Flex Appeal, who's pioneering for the closing of this gap in the UK. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's doing amazing work in shining light on the fact that
what's her name again?
Anna. Oh, I can't remember her surname. I'm just going to look her up.
That's okay. Okay. I have not heard of her, but good for her. That's really great. We need more, more people like her to be promoting what we do.
Anna
I think
Whitehouse.
part of it is an education, right? I mean, a lot of times men are not doing it on purpose, or they have a bias based on their upbringing or something else, right? They're not really looking to put us down, but it happens because of other things. So educating them about, hey, we are the breeders. We're bringing in this next generation. We want everybody to be equal. We want them to have just as strong of a voice as their brothers or sisters, and it's important for them to be educated about that.
Absolutely. And this, this whole Flex Appeal thing that Anna Whitehouse, pioneers, it reflects some elements of what COVID-19 has done to us, in that we may not be working a 9-to-5 day anymore. However, we're just as productive when you put your effort into the times when you know you're going to be productive, and you put boundaries in place of time that you have to ring fence to do other things, and you can do both. There's no element of, well, she's going to do that in 4 hours and he's going to work an 8-hour day. If they can get exactly the same amount of that time, then I think we need to be more flexible in our thinking for that reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great thoughts on that end. So let's jump into VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality. Tell me how this is affecting creative agencies, because it's getting big.
It is. And we, in our agency here, we're embracing it. We're pushing forward, especially with the brands that we're working with, to encourage them to use it, or to encourage them to use us to enable them to enhance their brand. Changing our approach to storytelling, design, marketing, client engagement. It's changing the playing field for sure. But AR and VR, they're offering almost new dimensions for creativity and innovation. They're allowing agencies to push boundaries and deliver really unique and impactful experiences. Some of them we are researching and developing at the moment in terms of e-commerce for luxury brands, and how they really need to embracing the audiences in the digital world versus the real world. If you take brands, luxury brands in the fashion sector, let's say, just as an example, there could be in any sector really, they've got a physical audience who come to events like fashion weeks, and really, want to look at the products they're seeing up close and personal. Yet you've got that whole audience who can't get there, or who don't feel comfortable getting there, or don't feel like they want to walk into a flagship store and really look at that product in detail, yet they can do it in a virtual space designed really well with such great clarity in their own personal space. And it's just a simple click away for them to be able to be an owner of that brand, or have to have a piece of that brand. And then you reverse that and you allow the brand to then own that audience, and not necessarily own it, but have reach to it. So we're really pushing the boundaries of what we can do with AR and VR in terms of experiences that live on, and experiences that breed a massive return on investment for brands.
I love that. And I think it differentiates you tremendously by using them, because it helps your customers understand who you are, and they don't have to learn all of that. You can bring it to them, right? And that's so important. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah. We always say that we're here. We always say that we are here to make people better. That's one of our trademarks, if you will. We're always saying, you should be coming to us because you've got.
We are the experts.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. And that's definitely a great differentiator for customers to come to you versus going to another creative agency, because they are seeing the value up front.
Yes, we hope
so. My next question is interesting, because I was thinking about just my journey in running a business. And when I first started, and it was small, I made a lot of decisions from my gut. And then over time, so many years ago, I started looking at data to make decisions. Why do you think it's so critical that we leverage data analytics for decision making?
Oh God, it's critical because we need. It's like our fact checking. It's like going on air and making a statement and not having your facts in order.
Right.
It's as simple as that. It's informed decision making, which provides the valuable insights that we absolutely need, because you can fabricate stuff, but it's going to come back and bite you in the backside later on. You an injustice. It identifies opportunities as well. It doesn't just create the facts behind what we're stating. And it's enhancing customer experience. It's understanding behaviors through data analytics. It allows businesses to personalize products and services. So it's fundamental that we have been using it, and we continue to use data analytics, because data is the foundation for what any client is paying for.
Right.
I mean, you look at experiences. We create experiences. An agency, we create experiences that are intelligent, and we want our clients to be able to not only have the ability to own those experiences and look great in the process, but give them the tools directly back that allow them to glean their own insights. What's working for them, and what are they making the right decisions as a business to enlist the company like Velvet Badger to make and create those experiences for them, rather than just going, well, I think we should because that's what the world's doing right now.
Right.
We have to all understand that there are reasons, and it always comes down to return on investment for me. I don't want to take on a project for any client that doesn't have a reason for being created or for being.
Absolutely.
And it goes both ways. We have to understand what that reason is, and our clients deserve to have that information delivered to them and shown that it's going to work for them.
That's so critical, I think. And I love that, you said that your client is paying for your data for the intelligence. I think that is great points about why clients come to you, and for you to have that strong feeling to give them a return on their investment. Otherwise, it's not worth it. That's so important, so important. So I love that. So data is critical to making any kind of decisions about your company.
It doesn't even come down to just the digital sector. We take the brand strategy that Velvet Badger does for clients. If we're designing a brand identity, for example, for any business or any brand, we have to look at the data around us to understand if we are positioning them in the right place. You can't take a really tiny unknown brand that says they want to be a luxury brand but clearly isn't, and just place them up there in that strategic area without understanding the comparisons of other brands around them. We have to show the brand that we are positioning them in that place for a specific reason, and the reason is X, Y, or Z.
Yes.
Glean that from
you have to show that so that it's a reality and not just a thought. It is really the data analytics is giving that decision process. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, let's move on to a personal side, because this is a selfish question, because I love to travel and I add to my bucket list every time I talk to a new guest. So what is your favorite place to travel and why?
My favorite place
that you've already been there. Yeah.
Well, me and my husband love traveling and being child free and crazy. We do go to a lot of different places, and we go there, like short little breaks here and there to try and maximize, our footprint. But I think the best place so far probably is San Sebastian or the northern Spain region, purely for the art, the culture, and definitely it's got to be for the food. I just love Spanish food.
Yes,
absolutely love it. Yeah.
See, and that means so much. Okay, I'm going to add that one to my list, because we just went to Sevilla, Spain, and came back from there, and I loved it. I didn't have enough time there, but I felt that art, culture, and food. I love all of those things about Spain.
It's in the architecture and it's all around you, and it's just people are freer. Even in the I look in furniture shop storefronts, and it's just the way they even dress their windows. It's just a je ne sais quoi about it. They just they love a clash of pattern and color. They're not afraid. They're flamboyant.
They really express themselves. Yeah.
Definitely.
Through that. That's great. Thank you for that great tip, because I think it's great. That's awesome. All right. So in closing, Kerry, can you share with our listeners how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. Well, LinkedIn is a massive business tool that I use. So I'm on LinkedIn. Just search Kerry Adams at Velvet Badger. Our website's got all of our handles on. That's velvetbadger.com.
Okay.
All of our social handles, our Instagram feed shows the work that we do and we deliver. But ultimately, we're always sharing thought leadership pieces on LinkedIn to share our thoughts in how our industry is changing and evolving.
That's great. Well, thank you. This was an honor to have you on the show. Your insights are invaluable. They're so great. And I know our listeners are going to enjoy our conversation, because it's very, very in tune with what the world is needing right now.
I hope so. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you for listening to Tech in the Right Direction. Please take a minute to subscribe or follow so that you never miss an episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and comment. Thank you. See you next week.
From IT skill enhancements to end user adoption training, Directions Training is your resource to help optimize the effectiveness of your technology investments. Over 500,000 students have taken advantage of our wide selection of technology and business training solutions, covering the most popular applications today, such as Microsoft 365, Azure, Windows 10, and more. As a podcast listener, we invite you to take advantage of an exclusive offer. Receive 30 days of free access to our Microsoft official curriculum, on-demand courses for IT professionals or end users. Visit us at www.directionstraining.com/podcast to claim this offer today. Hurry, this offer is only available for a limited time. Success is a journey. Ask for directions.